Okay, first off, here's my buddies out there at Bonneville. Congratulations, guys. You're killing it, you know? You guys who fabricate things and go out there and take your things to the Salt Flats and do it every year, I admire it. And keep doing it. So, I'm not making any land speed records on this Ducati. But I'll tell you what, though. She's a marvelous bike. And, you know, I ride the Triumph more and more. But when you get on the dock, it's a whole different animal. You know, it's a whole different animal. And I'm just going to be like your father right now. Or your favorite uncle. And I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to put on my hat. And I'm going to tell you a story. It's not going to be about motorcycles. It's going to be about government. So, yeah, guys. We're on the third set now of attorneys from defending Jenny Durkan in my public records lawsuit against her and the city. All right? So, I'm going to recap quickly for those of you who don't know anything about what's going on. A. Jenny Durkan was a federal prosecutor about a dozen years ago, and prior to that as well. But the relevant time period I'm talking about is about 10 years ago when she disobeyed the incipient Cole memo, which was to say that federal government should not have any interference with state cannabis proceedings if there was a legal cannabis regime. I used the wrong word, regime. But, you know, law, if you will. So, in other words, if the states had regulated cannabis by themselves, the federal government was not to intervene in that, right? But everybody knew this was happening, you know, even before the Cole memo came out. And so she went after Brianne Corbray, and it was all part of the whole anti-medical movement that the LCB fostered. Liquor and Cannabis Board, right? So anyway, and there's a separate litigation on that issue over here. But right now, we're just talking about Jenny Durkan, right? And so what she did was she shut him down in such a way that she threatened him with imprisonment. You know, when all he was doing was abiding by state law, but she used the federal structure to go after him. So she did that about 9-10 years ago. So I met Brianne, Mr. Corbray. The Game was his collective. The Game Collective, by the way. He had 3 licensee stores. And so I met him a couple like last year. And we still work together on different media projects. Okay? All right. Responsible father of 4. Dedicated husband. Been with the same woman, God knows, probably 30 years, right? Jenny Durkan smeared him and made him into an animal. Just said incredible things that she said about him. That he was, that he and his ilk were destroying the community and all of these things. And it's just crazy what she did as a white woman of privilege. Multi-millionaire. She and her partner are, okay? Let's get it straight. So, that was then. I had worked with city council before on mortgage issues, which they ignored, all right? But I did. I had a forum with them, and then the results came out. They didn't want to hear it. Then all of a sudden, I was persona non grata. All right. So we come flash forward now to today. And here's what happened today. This litigation is strictly about the fact that I wrote Jenny Durkan on behalf of myself and Mr. Corbray last October, and I asked for a meeting because the city, after all, has its own task force with respect to equity in cannabis that allegedly echoes the ethos of the state vehicle, which is supposed to do the same thing, go after equity in cannabis. But it's still been 9 years since they eradicated all the medical, which screwed over medical users, but also took out all the blacks and the BIPOC for the most part. So it's been a decade now, for more or less, and we're still not sure of when we're going to have a new black licensee again, okay? So I write her on behalf of Mr. Corbray, since he is now eligible to have another facility, right? Okay? I write her, and I say, hey, can we have a meeting, a sit down? I was a civil rights lawyer. Beyond Corbray, professional. You're professional. And Jenny, I had interviewed Jenny, Mayor Durkan. I had interviewed her in 17, as you've seen some of the pictures, as part of a larger press crew. But, I got a few minutes with her off camera. And as you can see, I was right there in her face. She later claims she doesn't remember me. That's fine, whatever the case. Bottom line was, my point here is that I had no antipathy towards her at the time. Fact. I thought she was righteous, but she's not righteous. And so what it comes down to is that she never responded to our request for a sit down, okay? And I'm sorry I have to go through this every video, because if I don't do it, somebody's going to say, well, King, you're choppy and you don't explain what happened before. Well, damn it, I had to stop and explain what happened before. So I did that, all right? Now we're getting to the meat of this, all right? Just sit tight. Sit tight. So, I said, damn it. Okay, I wasn't going to swear. This one's in honor of my mama. And mama hated me swearing, so I promised I wouldn't swear. But she said, damn it, too. So, fuck it. She said, fuck it, too, sometimes. Anyway. So, now, let's talk about how I dispense with these attorneys and why they're running from this case, okay? The first one, her name, I think, is Kerala Stewart, maybe? I don't know, Kerala something, all right? Harvard girl, all right, that's cool. And she responded to my discovery request by intimating that I was going to be a threat to Mayor Durkan, that I was going to harass Mayor Durkan, okay? Because of a standard question that you do in interrogatories, state your name and address, right? Every lawyer knows that's standard. Christian, if you're watching, that's standard shit, okay? So, that's all it was. She could have called my black ass and said, hey, do you really need her address, nigga? Oh, I said nigga. Oh, there I go again, right? Anyway, she said, Mr. King, did you really need her address or not? And I would have said, no, I don't need her address. I'm not going to her house. I will come up and shoot a video at City Hall, though. Yeah, you better believe I'll do that. But instead, she intimates that I'm a dangerous black man again, okay? Been going through this all my life, What do you call a Case Western law grad, top half of his class who worked for state government and law school? What do you call that guy when he graduates? Nigga! God, that's what they're doing. So I called her on it, right? Next thing you know, she's out, all right? Then they bring in this other guy, right? And I forget his name. He's gone now. He was in and out, man. Just fucking in and out, right? So they bring him in. But here's what happens in the meantime, okay? When I sent the complaint out, there was a distinct email on June 14 when I said, guys, this is the official service of process. Because, I always do that wrong. Official service of process. Because I tried to send it through ABC Legal, but ABC Legal said no. As a process server you've used before, we understand, Mr. King, that you went to us again, but no, they're only accepting service through email. So I emailed them on that day, date, and time, June 14, and I said, here's the lawsuit, and here's the discovery request, okay? Interrogatories, request for production of documents, and request for admission, okay? They're all due within 40 days. It's usually 30 days, they get an extra 10 days because of the... it's a new lawsuit, right? Okay, that was 14 June. The other lawyer that just signed off the case, he signed on 2 August. Can you do the math? I'm not a math guy anymore, but I can do the math. He's tardy already, right? So I file a motion to compel. In other words, this means give me this shit right now. All right? You're tardy. All right. Here's what happens next. It's unbelievable. He writes in and basically blames me, his response to the court, and he says, Mr. King's requests are voluminous and they've led to confusion. There's only one email that says notice of official service, damn it. There's only one. So anyway, the court ends up denying my motion to compel, but meanwhile, they issued some discovery responses, which I'll get to in a minute. Okay? So, basically, I filed my motion to compel, and the judge overruled it. Okay. I filed a request for reconsideration on that because a declarant under Rule 602 has to have first-hand knowledge of whatever they're declaring. Okay. So if this lawyer comes in on August 2nd, that's post facto. He's after the time that the shit was already due. Goddamn! Oh, God, I keep swearing. All right, but it's so simple, right? So I filed that motion. I said, get him out of here, all right? So the first one accused me of being a dangerous black man. The second one wasn't even present for the shit that he's talking about. Get him out of here, right? And meanwhile, I said, you guys are trying to hustle me. You guys are trying to hustle me out of taking a deposition of Jenny Durkan. That's what they're trying to do. So as all this is going on, okay, just stay with me, all right? You don't have to be a lawyer to get this, all right? I simplify these things for people who are not lawyers, all right? What they're doing the whole time is they set a really quick date in October 29th. Let's call it the witching hour. They set October 29th as a time for a motion for summary judgment. Like an oral argument for summary judgment is going to be held on that day. That means we have all the evidence at stake, and there's no way this goes to a jury, all right, or to a final hearing, because I haven't requested a jury yet, but I will. And so they're saying there's no need for a trial even before the judge, because it's so clear that the law's on our side, you have to throw it out. Okay, Rule 56, just whatever. All right. But wait a minute. How can you file a motion for summary judgment when I haven't even taken Jenny Durkan's deposition? You can't do that. So I told them the other day, I said, look, guys, I'm going to demand a deposition for Jenny on the 9th. And I'm going to ask her to bring certain documents with her. And what documents are those? And this is standard practice, guys. This is nothing crazy. I'm not some crazy cuckoo pro se litigant. I know exactly what I'm doing in that courtroom. I've done it a million times. And I've helped other lawyers do it too, all right? So, what we're coming to here is I put him on the spot. And I told him yesterday, as some of you guys saw on my Facebook page, I said, I'm going to issue this notice of our deposition of September 9th if I don't hear back from you by the close of business today. All right? Is that clear enough? So, I posted up during the day, as some of you guys saw, they had 3 hours left, right? Well, with about 2 hours left, or an hour left, I think, I get an email message from a new guy. I don't even know the name of his firm. I don't care, because I know I'm right. I don't give a fuck who it is. Sorry, Mom. I just don't, because I know I'm right. So, imagine this. Now, first, I'm going to tell you now, before I sign off, I'm going to tell you two things. The questions I was going to ask, and what it means if the court does not allow me to take her deposition, okay? Focus. You don't have to be a lawyer. Just listen, okay? And by the way, don't put me in a political box. That'll never work. I hate them all. Maybe the Greens I'm okay with. All right, but I hate them all. All right, so just stop for a minute, focus, and listen. The questions I'm going to ask Jenny are basically twofold. One, give me, at your deposition, bring me all the documents, and this means notes, pads, text messages, which he's already under lawsuit for that, for missing text messages, when as a federal prosecutor, she knows the rules of electronic preservation. Okay? Okay? So, it's so ridiculous. This is how ridiculous it is. Just a ridiculous bitch. All right, all right, listen. So, Jenny, bring the documents that you have where you responded to what Mr. Corbray and I wrote, okay? Because if it's an important issue, if it's important enough for the city to have its own equity task force, I, as a dangerous black man, for some crazy reason believe it might be important for you, or reasonable action of you, to take our request for a meeting with you and forward it to the equity task forces of the city. That's all I'm asking, guys. Sorry it took about 22 minutes to get here. But I do this for a reason, because my show should be this long. And believe me, I have a show. All right. This is going on Callflix, and this is going on in a lot of places. All right. So I have to make it, I don't have any ads. I have an ad at the end. But yeah, guys. Whew. And I have to tell it from start to beginning, because I can't be piecing together shit so people who walk in here go like, oh, people often complain, I just walked into the middle of a story. And I'm like, well, guys, now you have the whole story, all right? There's no excuse for not paying attention to what's going on here, all right? So, once again, out of this increasingly thin wallet, I continue to do this because I do what's right, And the community helps me in different ways, yes. People who work on my cars, my bikes, they dig what I do, so yeah, I get a break there. But I'm going to ask you guys for some money for this fucking deposition. All right? Yeah. There is a website. John Novak has it to give up some money. $500 for this deposition for Jenny. $500. It's going to be like an hour, about an hour at the most, maybe a little longer. And it's important because either way, she's lost. So, yeah, that's the second part. All right? The first part was the questions. All right? I never get caught in a loop. I never lose my track. All right? So the first part were the questions. You heard those. And the end game is this. And this, I don't care. I'll say it publicly. I'll tell you my whole, theory of the case right now. What they're trying to avoid is having my narrow black ass get Jenny Durkan up there and ask her, why didn't you forward this? Okay? So she can't win. If she hasn't given me, if she had communications with these entities, which she should logically have had, all right, I should have had those documents a long time ago, all right? But when I forced their hand and made them, cough up the documents under a threat of a motion to compel, they gave me a certain set of documents. And in that, those documents are nothing but shit that I basically wrote them in the first place, all right? Get it? So she's basically saying that she said nothing to anybody about our correspondence. And that's just flat disrespectful. Who the fuck are you as the mayor to just ignore our black asses like that? We're both professional people, Jenny. Who the fuck are you? God, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I swore again. Who the fuck are you as our elected official to do that? By the way, I voted for Kerry anyway. Yeah, I did. I voted for Kerry Moon straight up. I'll tell you guys, it's just so troubling to go through this, So either she has to admit that there are other correspondences that she had and that I still don't have them yet, which would make her liable under the statute. Got it? Because I should have had them a long time ago under the public record statute. If she talks to these entities, which would be a logical thing to do, right? As a responsible, progressive civil rights advocate that she allegedly is, even though her own GLBTIQ community wants her out. We stop there. If you're a progressive person like that, Jenny, why wouldn't you have forwarded our concerns to the equity task forces when we wrote you repeatedly? Okay? So you can't win for losing, honey. If you didn't do it, the question is, why didn't you do it? You see? So I'm going to respond back to the lawyer and just send him a copy of this video and say I'm taking her deposition, or there's not going to be any argument for summary judgment. I mean, that's the law, guys. I know, honestly, I don't give a flying fuck if some of you hate me or not. I really don't, because I know the fucking law. That's all. That's all. Honestly. Take any fucking shit from me, these people.